Problem 3-86. In this, we are given the diameter of a circle, and it asks us to find the circumference and the area. So, let's start by just drawing a alright drawing of a circle. Not the best. And put the center of the circle there. So, if any of these words you forget the meaning of, just up a bit is a whole box describing what each of the words mean, how you get them, and why they matter. So that will be very helpful in solving this problem. So it gives us the diameter of 15 centimeters. And diameter is a line that goes from one side to the other that cuts through the center. So we know that that diameter is 15 centimeters. And it's asking us for the area and circumference. And the area can be found by doing r squared times pi. So we'll do area equals r squared times pi. And the circumference equals 2 times r times pi. And if you're not sure where those equations come from, once again, up in that box above, it kind of explains that as well. And so, if you notice here, these equations, we're using r, but right now we have the diameter. R stands for radius, and the radius is half the diameter. So if this line from one side to the other side is 15, the radius is just from here to the center. And that's just going to be half of 15, so that'll be 7.5 centimeters. So from there, we have these equations that have a variable, r, and we found what r equals. R equals 7.5. So to find the area and circumference, we just need to plug in r into these equations. So let's start with the area. So I'll write it down again here, r squared times pi. We plug in r there, so that's going to equal 7.5 squared times pi. And you might want a calculator for what 7.5 times 7.5 is, or 7.5 squared. But it's going to be 56.25. And that's getting multiplied by pi. Now, pi is kind of a funky number. It's a bit different from anything else. It actually goes on forever after the decimal point. But the first few digits is 3.141592. So don't feel like you have to use all those digits. 3.14 or something like that. If you're using a calculator, it might have a pi symbol. Otherwise, just use the first few digits after the decimal. But it should approximately equal, and we'll do a little wavy equal sign like this, because we're just approximating what pi is. And it should be about 176.7. And depending on what value, how precise you get with pi, you might be getting a slightly different value for the final result. Now let's do the circumference. Alright, so once again that equals 2 times r times pi. So we can plug in r again and get 2 times 7.5 times pi, which is going to equal the circumference, which is 15, because we half the circumference to get 7.5, and now we're multiplying it by 2. It'll be 15 times pi. And once again, we're just going to be approximating what pi equals. So depending on how accurate you get, you might get a slightly different answer. But pi times 15 it's going to be about 47.1. And we'll go back up to the box. See, pi is about 3. So to kind of check your work, you can just look at what you're doing and be like 15 times 3 is 45. So you'd want an answer somewhere around 45. And to finish up the problem, notice we're given units, centimeters. So we want to make sure that we include those in the final solution. And you could include them all the way along. So the circumference is the distance around the circle. And that's going to be 47.1 centimeters. And the area is going to be all this area within. And that's going to be 176.7 centimeters squared, because r is being squared.